Good morning, and welcome to another edition of Tuesday Transformation Tidbits, where every week we come together to stir your faith, to sharpen your focus, and to shift you into the next level. On this morning, we're coming to the end of this series of locking in for 2026. We've been talking about embodying, and in week one, we started talking about embodying your standards. We talked about how alignment yield action and action yield identity. Week two, we came back and we talked about how embody your mindset. We talked about renewing yield reframe, and reframe yield reinforce. Week three, we came back and we talked about embodying habits. And we talked about how clue yield choices and choices yield character. Then we talked about embodying discipline, how you decide to do and do to development. Week five, we talked about embodying your presence, how posture yield poise and poise yield power. And this week, we're back this week, and we're talking about how embodying your future self, how your vision is going to yield to decide, and decide is going to yield destiny. This week, we're going to talk about not the version of you that was sharpened by fear, but we're going to talk about not the version of you that were trapped in old cycles, but the version that aligned where God is taking you. Because destiny is not built accidentally. And that's something we have to realize when we're talking about destiny. We're not talking about building something accidentally. We're talking about it is shaped by vision. It's formed through decision and is revealed over time when we talk about destiny. So on this morning, we're going to get started. And as always, we pattern what we say after scripture, because we realize when we're talking about vision yielding decision and decision is yielding destiny, we realize that character aligns with long-term identity. So we need to have some long-term identity. So Paul said, forgetting those things which are behind, he said, and I press towards the mark. When Paul was talking about that, he was saying that he was refusing to allow past things to control his future. What happened in the past, he wasn't going to allow it to control his future, because he understood that growth required intentional alignment. So we had to intentionally align ourselves in order to grow. You cannot pray for a new future while continuously agreeing with your old behaviors. You can't continuously agree with your old habits, with your old mindsets, and with your old pattern. At some point, you must line yourself up, and you got to reflect the direction in which you're going. So you got to move forward. You got to forget those things that you align with in the rear, and you got to push yourself forward, because character aligns, as I said, with long-term identity. We're not looking for something that's short-term, but we're looking for something that's going to last long-term, something that's going to take us where we need to be in order to be in align with the Father. So on today, when we talk about real talk on today, most people in this day and time, the buzzword is destiny. Everywhere you go, the buzzword is destiny. People are always talking about destiny, conversations on destiny and what destiny holds. But there's one thing we have to understand when we're dealing with destiny. We can't avoid decisions that connect with destiny. In order to get to destiny, there are some decisions that we have to make. You want to grow, but we resist discipline. We want to grow in life, but growth in life connects with discipline. We have to discipline ourselves in order to grow. We want peace, but we're constantly feeding into chaos. How many of us always say we want peace, but we're constantly feeding into chaos? We want elevation in life, in things that we do, but we remain emotionally attached to the past. Where God is trying to pull us from is the place that we want to stay emotionally attached. But when we look at the truth of the whole matter, every decision is either moving us forward or it's pushing us backward to stay connected to the past. We want to think about that for a moment. Think about the decisions that you make in life. Not only decisions that you make in life, but the decisions that you make on a daily basis. Are these decisions pushing you forward? Or are these decisions keeping you connected to the past? Because right now, real talk is that we really want to go forward. Real talk is that we don't want to remain in the past, just going around the mountain day after day, moment after moment. But we want to move our position into one that's going to lead us into the place that the Father's called us to do in 2026. Because we got to remember our overall topic for 2026 is getting it done. And in order to get something done, you have to make decisions, and your decisions is going to keep you connected to the destiny. What is the destiny that the Father has called for you to do in 2026? What is the place that the Father wants you to go to in 2026? Because that's the place that you have to align with. That's the things that you have to do. So we got to forget those things which are behind us. So when we talk about vision is yielding decision, and decision is yielding destiny. There is another scripture that we can connect with. Remember, Paul told us that you can no longer stay in looking in the rearview mirror. He said that you got to get over the rearview mirror and you got to press forward. When we're pressing forward, we're looking forward towards something. Habakkuk came back and it told us in connection with that. Habakkuk said, write the vision. He said, and then when you write the vision, he said, I need you to make it plain. He said, though that vision that you're writing and you're making it plain, it might tarry, it might take a moment, it might be long. He says, but wait on the vision. He said, because you have it written and because you made it plain to you, when you're waiting on that vision to come into fruition, he said, wait on it. He said, because it's going to surely come. And when you wait on it, you constantly review it over and over and over. The more you review your vision, the more it becomes plain in your eyesight, the more you can be able to see it. When Habakkuk is dealing with the scripture, he's dealing with vision. He's dealing with a particular prophecy that's going to come at a particular time. This is a declaration that he's saying when he says, write it. He says, make the declaration of whatever it is the vision is in, so that something can happen, so that you can get it done. He said the instruction is for a Pacific time, and 2026 is the Pacific time that we're getting it done. So when we look at vision, vision is really yielding clarity of identity. So you got to see the thing before the thing comes into fruition. You got to see beyond where you are now. Vision gives direction. Vision gives focus. Vision gives purpose. And without a vision, what happens? You begin to drift. You begin to become self-destructive. You begin to wander around, not having a specific thing that you're focusing on. With vision, you move intentionally. How many of you can say, because I have vision, because I have clear identity, I'm moving intentionally? Vision is not optional, but vision is like oxygen. We need oxygen in order to breathe in and to breathe out. That's how vision, we need vision in our life in order for us to go forward, in order for us to know exactly what we do. So vision really yields clarity of identity. When we talk about vision, vision is yielding decisions. When we look back at Habakkuk, it says, make it plain, align with decisions. You see, Destiny is sharpened by the daily choices that we make. In order for us to get to destiny, there are choices that we have to make. There are decisions in life that we have to make. So your habits, your boundaries, your response to things, and your discipline, all of that matters in a course of a day. All of that matters when you're making decisions, even small decisions. The more you repeat the small decisions, consistency comes out of that. Then you create a major transformation. So sometimes it's the small decisions that you go through in order for you to have consistency in your life. So we talked about vision, yield, decision. Now decision is going to yield destiny. That's why when Rebecca said, it will surely come, destiny unfolds with decision. Destiny unfolds. Destiny is not merely when you arrive to the place you need to arrive to. A lot of times when we look at our GPS and we put in certain destinations for our GPS. When we arrive, the GPS says you have arrived. But it never really, when we're talking about destiny, we're talking a lot about the journey in destiny, because it's in the journey in destiny that helps you to become what it is that you need to become. It's the journey in the destiny in 2026 that's going to help you get it done. Don't despise the journey. In the midst of the journey, sometimes you got to stop and you got to tiptoe through to the tulips. When you're in the garden, you got to stop and you got to smell the roses, because it's in that the journey is making you. It's in the journey that the destiny is beholding in front of you. And you see what we got to realize, God is not only preparing us for the future, but he's preparing a future for us. And while he's preparing a future for us, he's basically says, enjoy the journey that you're going through, because you're going to learn in the journey. You're going to grow in the journey. You're going to find purpose in the journey. That's why Rebecca said, it will surely come. Though it tarry, enjoy when it tarries, because there's a fulfillment in the tarry. He says, wait on it. Why do I have to wait on that? Because it's going to come in fruition. And while I'm waiting, I'm observing what is going on around me. I'm observing how the destiny is unfolding in front of me. I'm taking the daily tools that I need in the journey so that when I do arrive, I'm prepared for what it is that I need to do. In the journey, I'm getting what I need to get so that when I get it done, it can be done in a fulfillment. So a written declaration has to come. Sometimes we got to write it to keep the vision in front of us, so that as we're journeying in the journey, difficult times is going to come in the journey. Hard times is going to take us over in the journey. Sorrow sometimes comes in the journey. Tears come in the journey, but it all works together for our good. We don't understand what good is in the midst of our journey, but it's all woven together to bring about what the Father needs to bring about for us to get it done. You see, it's in the journey that we have to behold the goodness, the fruit, the delicious part is in the journey. I don't know who I'm talking to beside myself, but it's in the journey that we have to learn how to embrace, because the journey is preparing us for whatever it is. Write the declaration. The message ties to the appointed time. Whatever you're writing, whatever the message is, whatever the Father called for you to complete in 2026, it's tied to an appointed time. You see, your future self is really the vision. Your daily choices are the writing that we do, because we're building the vision. So every choice that we make daily are the stepping stones towards the destiny. And then your destiny is the fulfillment. So every day, every choice you make on today, understand that the choices that you make on today are the stepping stone, are the writings that you do to fulfill your destiny. You see, your future, your decisions is connected to your everyday decisions. Your future desire is connected to your everyday decisions. So every day, we got to be determined that I've got to do something daily to build my vision, to get it done. It calls for me to do something daily because I got to embody my future self, not my now, not my behind, but my future self where I'm going. So I got to make decisions daily to fulfill my destiny. Family, on this morning, my prayer for everyone who has listened to this series of locking it in, how we were embodying things in this series. My prayer is that God would help us to align our lives to our futures that He's calling us into. That God would give us clear vision, wise decisions, and He would help us to discipline ourselves so that we can remain faithful in the process, because once again, the process is the journey. My prayer is that God will break our every mindset, our habits, everything that's attached to us, that's in conflict, that's fighting against our destiny. I pray that God will break those things inside of us so that we're able to walk through, that God would give us hind feet, that when things come along our way, we can take our hind feet and climb over the things in our journey, climb over the difficult times, climb over the times that's going to cause us to have tears, climb over the hurtful times so that we can get to a journey. I pray that we would get a declaration. My declaration that we no longer live beneath what the God has called us to be. We no longer live beneath the thing that God told us to get done in 2026, but that we would measure up and that we would see ourselves in the future state where the Father has called us to do whatever it is that He calls you to do. My prayer is that we will continually grow into the future. Not only grow into the future, but my prayer and my declaration for everyone is that we would grow into the future with purpose and with intentional. Somebody say, I got to grow into the future with purpose and with intentions. No matter what I do, no matter what come my way, I've got to see it clearly. And when I see it clearly, I've got to choose wisely. And as I'm choosing wisely, I've got to walk with intentional. I've got to show intentionality in my walk because vision sharpens my decisions and decisions sharpen my destiny. I'm going to say that again. Vision sharpens my decisions and decisions sharpen my destiny. And that's why I got to lock in because my future self, I'm going to say it again, is the vision. My daily choices are the writings, are the stepping stones that I'm taking in order to reach my destiny. And my destiny is fulfillment. I've got a destiny and plan. I've got a destiny that the Father is calling me to complete in 2026. So I've got to see myself in the future. I've got to give myself a future self for my vision. So I got to write the vision. Paul told us to forget about what's behind. He told us to focus on what's behind us and to press. So while I'm pressing, I've got to see myself in it. I got to see my future state as my vision. In daily choices, I've got to write it because that's my press. Because in the journey, things are going to come along the way. The journey is meant to bring out and to put in. But my destination is going to be fulfilled. Whatever it is, your destination is going to be fulfilled. Family, friends, those who are listening now and those who are going to come back and listen to the replay, I want to say thank you for traveling along with me in the Lock-In series for the last 6 weeks. We'll be back on Tuesday, June the 2nd at 6 a.m. with our new series. In our next series, we're going to be talking about expansion and influence. I'm in my future state. which is the next dimension that the Father has called me to. You see, God didn't bring you this far for you just to maintain. We're not maintaining anymore, but he brought you here so that you can expand. He brought you here. You can expand your reach. You can deepen your impact and your influence your environment for God's glory. So in the next series, we're going to be talking about how to expand your reach. How do we deepen our impact? And how do we influence our environment for God's glory? Because it is your growth. It is in your growth, or it is your growth with the changes that's going to change the room that you go in. It's all about growth, and it's all about changing the room. When you walk in the room, you got to walk in knowing that you belong there. When you walk in the room, you've got to make up in your mind that I'm walking in this room because I'm coming in here to impact it. I'm going to influence the environment that I'm in. And in order for me to do that, I've got to understand that the Father's going to give me expansion and influence for my next dimension. Once again, thank you. We'll see you back here with Tuesday Transformation Tidbits on Tuesday, June the 2nd at 6 a.m. Until then, I say to you, be amazing on today. Shalom.